Hello, and welcome to the show Gold Squadron Gays. It's the podcast where two Star Wars loving gays break down each episode of their favorite Star Wars TV shows while also being gay as hell. I'm your host, Bradley Brower.
I'm your other host, Charles Rogers. Please, dear God, let's talk about some Star Wars. I don't want to think about my onboarding stress from my new job anymore.
I was going to say Happy New Year's. How's that going for you so far?
Well, hopefully, listeners, by the time you listen to this, I did get a new job, which is very exciting. There's a few issues with the onboarding at time of recording, but we're trying to get those sorted out as quickly as possible. Hopefully, listeners, by the time you listen to this, I will be sitting in an office. But it's either this week or next week, or in a very worst case scenario, the week after, but very soon. So I'm doing well. I had a lovely holiday at home, alone, because my boyfriend was at work and I was not going to try to risk an airport. How about you, Bradley? How are things going for you?
Great. New year, new me. I go to the gym every single day. I eat super healthy. I'm making a ton of money. I'm basically just rich and wealthy, and I have a great life right now, and it's amazing is what I'm hoping happens in the new year.
I was about to say, I've seen you try to go to the gym.
Yeah, I mean, eventually I just kind of like teeter out, but it's fine.
Eventually it disappears. I've been going because, obviously I've been unemployed for 6 months. I've been able to go basically every day, but
Nice.
That's a luxury that I will have to end here very soon.
Yeah.
Now, there is an LA Fitness, which is the gym I go to 2 blocks away from my new job. I'm not going to say which LA Fitnesses I go to, so as to not dox myself.
The cruisy one. Yeah, we know.
The nice thing about LA Fitness is, I haven't seen a lot of cruising at LA Fitness. It's not Crunch Fitness, Bradley.
It's not Equinox in New York.
It's not Equinox. I wish I was rich enough to afford Equinox.
I know, right?
You have to be either incredibly rich, retired, or you have to be screwing somebody who's paying you very well to be able to go to Equinox.
There you go.
Well, do you want to talk about some Star Wars? Because they keep hammering us with the Star Wars.
Yeah, what's going on in Star Wars universe this year?
Well, the High Republic Wave 2 is continuing, and Wave 3 will begin later in the year. There's some other Star Wars, but I really don't care about it.
Okay, good to know.
No, we've got a lot of Star Wars coming up in the new year. We've got one show that we'll come back to in a minute. We've got Mando season 3. We've got Ahsoka. We've got Skeleton Crew, which I've been incorrectly referring to as Skeleton Key for some reason.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. We might get the Acolyte at the end of the year, but I don't think so.
I would put my hope level at 0 for that one.
My hope level's at maybe like 1%. We'll maybe get the.
I wouldn't expect it.
Maybe will be like a December debut, where it debuts on like December 28th or something.
Okay, I could see like the very
end, like how Book of Boba Fett was mostly in 2022.
Gotcha.
But technically premiered in 2021.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then before we move on to the subject of the episode, Bradley, what are your thoughts on the upcoming TV shows? Because it's only TV shows next year, right. TV shows and books and the usual comics and things that are continuing to come out.
Yeah, no, I'm actually really excited. I know that honestly next year Ahsoka is going to be the big.
That's the one they're going to push so
because
hard.
Mando 3 will be great. Don't get me wrong. I think that'll be a nice lead up to Celebration. It'll be like a really fun, like, okay, great. We got Mando 3, whatever. And it won't be bad by any means. I think it'll be actually a really good season, but they are pushing this Ahsoka thing. I know it's going to be like their tentpole show they want to push because it's going to be the lead up to this connection multiverse show thing that they keep
this epic
about.
Crossover event that Kennedy mentioned in like 2020 that we haven't heard high nor hair of.
Right. I feel like this show, I think the Ahsoka show is going to be the lead into that idea, and I feel like Skeleton Crew may give us a few more details or something and be like the old, like kind of like the pushing right up against it, and then maybe we'll get that show next.
I think it's going to be Mando season 3, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, Mando season 4, and 4 is going to be the end, and then they're going to do the big like crossover event, and they're going to do it in like maybe it'll be like a feature film length thing that will debut on Disney Plus.
I feel
instead of doing it as like a season, it'll be like a feature film sort of finale to this era. Because also Favreau Filoni have been working on this since like 2017 or so, 2016 or
Mm,
2017. I think it was around 2017 they started development for The Mandalorian because it premiered in 2019. So
that's
they've
crazy.
been working on it a while, and it's coming up to the point where I'm sure Jon Favreau probably wants to move on and do something else because he's done 3 seasons of Mando. He's done Book of Boba Fett. I'm sure he'll have something to do with Ahsoka. He's executive producer on Skeleton Crew. I can't imagine he wants to keep making Star Wars for the next 10 years.
I could see John finishing Mando and then being done. I could see him being like, "All right, I did my thing.
Yeah.
I jump started the TV universe of Star Wars, and now like I'm gonna not retire, but you know what I mean. Like step away, let the new directors and the new people I tested along the way kind of take over and do some other things."
Yeah, and we've already kind of seen that with Deborah Chow as a director on Mandalorian, and then she went over to direct Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I think unless your name is Dave Filoni, who's probably going to be making Star Wars until he retires,
Yeah.
unless your name is Dave Filoni, you'll probably move on from Star Wars eventually. And that's also why Tony Gilroy was like, we're only doing 2 seasons of Andor. Because he was like, I'm not devoting 10 years of my life to this, and Diego's not devoting 10 years of his life to this, and we're not asking our crew to devote 10 years of very intense work to
Right.
this show. No, we're doing it in 2 seasons. There is one other thing coming out in 2023.
What would that be?
Why, it's a little animated show called The Bad Batch Season 2.
Oh my God. Totally not what we're definitely talking about this entire
It's
episode.
definitely not in the title of the episode. If you somehow clicked on this episode and didn't read the title, first of all, congratulations, because that's impressive. Second of all, yeah, we are going to be doing our episode 0, which is where we sort of go over our predictions for the show, et cetera, et cetera. Now, at time of recording, we have not seen the show. That's partly on me. I'm working some stuff in the back end. But at this current point, we have not seen the show. And I know other people have, but we have not. So we're just operating off of the official marketing materials. And I do have to throw the caveat whenever we do an episode 0, Bradley only looks at the official marketing material. I have seen leaks and rumors and spoilers and things like that, but I don't tell him any of those. Bradley just looks at the trailers that the Star Wars YouTube channel releases. He looks at the posters that they release. He looks at the episode titles, and that's it. So with
And then
all
we
that,
can kind of do all that. And then we can, infer things and kind of make fun predictions in the beginning. And then, once we do our finale episode and then our retrospective at the end of the season, it's kind of fun to go back and see like what we got wrong, what we got right, stuff like that. And then
yeah,
he can
because
be like, "Oh yeah, I already knew that."
we've been wrong before. Looking at you, Rex will show up in season 1 next episode. Oh, that was so funny when I kept saying for like 4 or 5 weeks in a row,
Right.
I was like,
It's
Rex is
Rex.
going to show up in the next one.
It's
Rex
Rex.
is going to show up in the next one. Rex is going to show up in the next one. And then he fucking didn't show up until
Right.
episode like 8. Oh,
I feel like that's gonna be the same thing this time around, except it's gonna be Cody. We're gonna be like, "Oh, Cody
I
in
think
this
we know.
episode."
Well, because they actually released all of the episode titles. This was bizarre. This was something
Right.
they've never done before. Is they just went ahead and released all the episode titles?
Yep.
Like they just
And the
dropped
dates
all of
that
them?
they're gonna
And the
air,
dates that they're going to air?
which is even
Uh,
more weird.
they're also crunching some of them together. So like last time we got Aftermath, which is the double length premiere,
Mhm.
but that wasn't 2 episodes. That was very clearly 1 episode conceptually to production to release. This one, we're getting episodes 1 and 2 on the same day. We're getting episodes 7 and 8 on the same day. And we're getting episodes 15 and 16 on the same day. So they've actually crunched this from 16 weeks to 14 weeks.
Right. And I'm still wondering, not, I mean, I get from like a creative standpoint, like if these 2 episodes go together, whatever. But it makes you wonder, why are they ending the Bad Batch on March 29th is the date of the 2 final episode. So it's like, was there a reason why they needed to end it 2 weeks earlier? Did March sound better than April?
I wonder if it's because Mando is coming out on March the 1st. So
I
the
know.
last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 episodes of Bad Batch are actually going to overlap with The Mandalorian season 3.
Which is weird.
Which is weird. I think the idea was they didn't want it to overlap too much. Like,
Yeah,
I think they looked at it and they were like, we have to put this show out, but we also don't want to cannibalize our own viewers too much. There was some concern, I remember, when Andor came out that that Bad Batch and Andor were going to run simultaneously, and we had these discussions
Right.
when we were trying to schedule, because it was a very exhausting time to be on Twitter, because all of the Rogue One fans were like, "Oh, Bad Batch is going to eat away at Andor. Nobody's going to pay attention to Andor because everybody only wants to talk about the animation." And the animation fans are on the other side, like, "Oh, Andor is going to eat away at the Bad Batch." Nobody watches the animation because they think it's for kids. All anybody's going to want to talk about is Andor. And both of these groups were also kind of right, but also, I think, kind of wrong.
Right.
I will say that Tales of the Jedi absolutely did get swallowed up by Andor.
Yes, for sure. And that was a mistake because it was more of a mini series rather
We've
than
said
a
that
full
in our
length.
we've said that before in our Tales of the Jedi coverage, that it was
Right.
we think it was a mistake to drop it in the middle, because
Absolutely.
Andor absolutely cannibalized it. I think what they want to do is they want to give people 8 weeks of investment in Bad Batch, so that when they drop Mando, people are gonna keep watching the last or the last 6 episodes, the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, because at that point you're well
At that
into
point
the
you're
show.
committed.
Yeah.
At that
Yeah,
point
you're
you're
committed.
committed to finishing it. You're gonna finish it regardless. I think that's the strategy here.
Right.
Which,
And it looks like a weird setup too. So we have a premiere, right? A 2 episode premiere.
right.
We have a 2 episode mid-season finale, and then we
Which
have
I think is the Cody arc based on the name.
interesting. Oh, well, do you want to start talking about the names? I mean, we can.
Yeah, so we have Spoils of War, Ruins of War. That's the first 2 episodes.
Hmm.
I'll stop when I know something.
Okay.
The Solitary Clone episode 3 is an interesting one.
Okay. Do we think
That
that
also
that's-
could be the Cody one.
that could be Cody, but that could also be Crosshair, right?
That is true. That could mean Crosshair. That could mean a completely different. Could mean Wolf.
It could be, yeah. It
We
literally
haven't
could just
seen
be some
Wolf yet.
random clone
And we
that
know-
maybe wasn't a part of anything and just happened to be
Yeah,
isolated.
or like a clone that deserted, or they could be doing, like, it'd be really cool is to have an episode to be one of those like World War II survivors that crashed on an island for 40 years and didn't know that the war had ended. But they also did kind of already do that with Rebels, with the droid episode.
Well, now that you say that, in the trailer, they are on an island at one point being chased by giant crabs. So it would be
Okay,
interesting.
so I can't
if-
explain the crab thing. We'll get to it in a minute when we get to the
Okay.
trailers. I've seen more trailers than Bradley has because I was in the room at Star Wars Celebration Anaheim when the first trailer premiered.
Hmm.
So I have seen an extended cut of the main trailer, and I've seen the crab scene. The crab scene
okay.
was a scene that they showed.
Oh, really?
So I actually
Okay.
know what's going on in the crab scene.
Got it. Okay. I just thought that'd be interesting because they're already on an island. So it's like, why not throw a clone on the island that just happened to be there during Order 66 or something and has no idea what's going on, you know?
That's what I'm thinking. That would be really cool, but that's too good of an idea. They're not going to do that.
Do like a Castaway clone episode.
Yes, like a Castaway clone. Oh my god, I would love that.
And he's got his helmet and it's gonna have a painted face on the helmet too. Like that'd be funny. I don't know. They could do something interesting like that.
So
moving
after
on.
that, we have Faster, which I'm sure is probably not faster in the context of what I would like it to be, looking at you, Hunter. Then we have Entombed, Tribe, then 7 and 8 are a double feature, The Clone Conspiracy and Truth and Consequences. And this is the arc that I think is the Cody arc.
Okay, I believe that. So we actually have a more recent trailer. I think that's what there's a screenshot from the more recent trailer that I believe is episode 6.
Oh, okay. You think it's the Wookiees.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that,
'cause
I
we
mean, it
see
makes
screenshot-
sense.
In the latest trailer that just came out, there's shots of what looks like a Trandoshan burning. Okay, so we need to address this while we're there. Yes, the Trandoshan has a flamethrower. This is going to be the worst season of TV. However, I will say the Trandoshan is using the flamethrower to ignite the brush under the forest,
Right.
which is a good use of your flamethrower.
There you
You
go. He's
don't
not,
need
yeah.
a big or powerful flamethrower to do that. This Trandoshan came equipped with a flamethrower that makes sense for the job that the Trandoshan is attempting to do. I'm just saying.
We have to give him props there. We'll get to it whenever that episode happens. But yeah, I think this might be the first time that they'll ever use a flamethrower that's not like for combat for some reason. Like it's just particularly for whatever it's for.
Mandalorian used it. The Flame Trooper was trying to burn them out by setting fire to the building. And that was also a good use of your flamethrower.
That's true. Okay.
Is to light a building on fire. And that flamethrower also had like a big pack and was like carrying around enough fuel and was able to fire an immensely powerful jet of flame. My issue is with the wrist-mounted flamethrower. Yeah, we do have a shot in the latest trailer of looks like Wookiees on the back of some sort of
Beast
weird
of burden.
beast things, and then the Bad Batch is standing around there with Gunji,
Right.
who I can now say is in the show.
I love it
because
He's
it's
so
in
cute.
the trailers. I knew it from as far back as SWCA, but I think Bradley, it took you are either the first or second trailer to find out about it.
Yeah, I we'll have to go through the trailers in a second to see which one he first appears in. But I didn't know he was gonna be in the show. He's really cute, and he seems like a great, best friend companion for Omega. Like, why not? Just keep him in the
He's
show
only gonna
forever.
last like what he's only gonna last
I
like
know.
one episode.
I'm assuming it would be that episode. What's going to happen is he's theoretically going to show up. They're going to save him as some aspect, and then he's going to go live with the Wookiees to kind of keep being alive.
Right, which is probably not a good idea given what
given our history
to Kashyyyk over
right.
the course of the Imperial occupation.
Right.
I think episode 7 and 8, the two-part mid-season finale is going to be but it's not even a mid-season finale because there's no break.
Yeah.
Remember last time there was a break, and this time there's no break. They're going straight from the two-part quote-unquote mid-season finale to the next episode.
Well, I guess this kind of follows the same pattern of season 1 where they did the Hera episodes. So I guess it's kind of similar. Like, I know that wasn't exactly mid-season, but it was
the mid-season finale was ended with Omega getting captured by Cad Bane, and then we had to wait like 2 weeks to find out what happened.
So this is just another two-parter, I guess. Yeah,
it's a two-parter. Yeah, it's a two-parter, just like the Rex episode and then them escaping Baraka episode. But there's no break after. They're going straight into episode 9.
Yeah, it is weird, but okay. I mean, give it to us, I guess.
Episode 9 is the crossing, and then we have retrieval, metamorphosis, which is probably not as cool as Franz Kafka's metamorphosis.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe this is Crosshair metamorphosizing into a good guy or something.
Fucking no. It's gonna be Omega turns into a giant bug. That's gonna be the plot of this episode. Omega turns into a giant bug.
I think that's exactly what it is.
Yes, 100%. And then we have the outpost, Pabu, which I checked and I couldn't find anything Star Wars related.
That's not like a creature or a world or an alien or anything like that. Like, that's not a species or anything. I don't know. It just sounded weird.
No, the closest I could find was it's the little fox thing in Legend of Korra, the red panda. It was a red panda.
Oh, that's right, Pabu.
In Legend of Korra, Pabu.
Okay.
That's the closest thing I could find.
I doubt he's in this, but okay.
I also doubt he's in this, but it might be a reference because Dave Filoni got to start working on the first season of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, and we should keep an eye out for that then.
We should keep an eye out for Last Airbender references.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because then we have episode 14, Tipping Point. And then it gets really interesting because we have episode 15, The Summit, and episode 16, Plan 99. The Summit probably referring to Mount Tantus that we saw at the end of
exactly
season
what I was
1.
thinking.
Plan 99, because we know they have different plans and those plans are numbered. I'm curious what Plan 99, i.e., the last one, and also the one that is the same name as their unit, what that is. I'm a little worried somebody's not going to make it out of Plan 99.
That's what my theory is, only because
Plan 99 is someone stays behind and sacrifices
someone's not
themselves.
coming back.
Plan 99 is someone or everyone is not coming back.
Yeah, I definitely see them doing that because do you think that, I mean, now to be fair, we have not seen the seasons. We don't really know the story, but do you think there's going to be another season after this? I don't think so.
I think they'll do one more.
You think?
I think they'll do one more season. I don't think they're going to stretch it out as long as Clone Wars. I think 3 or 4 tends to be what they aim for. Resistance was clearly planned to be three-ish seasons long, and it got scrunched down.
Well, see, that's what I thought.
An abbreviated second season. Clone Wars was just supposed to go on forever and ever and ever. It was supposed to be like 8 or 9 seasons.
Right, so that's why they just added another one.
But Rebels was 4, and the 4th one was an abbreviated season. The 4th one isn't even a full season. It's only like 10 episodes.
Got it. Okay.
10
So
or
then
12 episodes. Maybe there's like 2 episodes on Mandalorian, and then the rest of the plot is like 10 episodes. It's not long. It's not as long as the other seasons.
I guess it depends on where they end this season because I thought like if I just recently watched the first season and honestly, yikes. I forgot how forgettable this show was. Because I'm watching the whole entire season and I'm like, I don't remember any of this. This is really boring. And we've deep dived and gone
We
through
have
every
deep dived into
episode.
all of these episodes.
That
I have watched
scares
this
me.
show 3 times, and there's points where I'm like, wait, did that come up in? Oh,
Yeah.
that was in that random episode of The Bad Batch.
No, what I'll say though is the first season had its moments, right? There are very good moments in the show. I just think as a whole, it's kind of a boring season, but from trailers, season two looks interesting.
You want to look at some of the trailers?
Let's see what we can do some damage on some of these.
All right, you want to let's take a look. So about 6 months ago, they released to the public a season 2 teaser trailer. Now
Mm-hmm.
I saw it about 7 months ago, or I saw a version of it 7 months ago. Is there anything from the season 2? It's labeled season 2 teaser trailer. It's 1 minute and 13 seconds. Anything from that particular trailer that you want to bring up, Bradley? Other than the fact that Sid is back, which is good and perfect.
Sid is back. We get some shots of the Emperor and his blue best friend.
Yeah, so that's a fucking jump scare into the trailer that we were shown at Celebration.
Oh, really?
So yeah, Omega's in the Senate chamber, or she's like underneath it, and she's watching. They have projected up. If you look closely, if you go to about 21 seconds, you can actually get a good look at it. They're projecting up the destruction of Camino. And you can see the Senate pods in the background and the Emperor and Masameda rising up out
Oh,
of
okay.
the Senate. And then if you look at the mission trailer, I think you can see a better shot of the Imperial Senate. You can get a better shot of the Senate at 6 seconds into the mission trailer.
Okay.
It has not got the Imperial cog yet that it will eventually have in Andor. It still looks like the regular Senate, but you can get a good look at it. It's very clear that Omega's down. It looks like she's like in one of the vents
Right.
of the Senate. Yeah, that was a jump scare. We didn't know that was coming. And so it was gasped, but then it's like 21 seconds into this first trailer. Oh, Palpatine's in it.
Got it.
I don't think we know who's voicing Palpatine yet, whether it's going to be Ian McDermott or whether it's going to be Sam Witwer or who's it going to be. Because Sam Witwer will usually do it if Ian McDermott's not going to do it.
Gotcha.
And Ian,
Wow, this trailer's so quick.
yeah, Ian voiced Tales of the Jedi.
Okay, yeah, I'm
But
trying to like slow it down just so I can see some of the things in here because there's that one montage.
I'm just
section
casually
that's
clicking
like
through screenshots. Yeah, we
I'm
see some
seeing.
more. We see some more like clone commandos in the first
Mhm.
trailer. We get a look at Cody's new armor. Commander Cody is in this. We should
Yeah.
probably talk about that. Commander Cody is in this.
Welcome back,
Cody
you
elicited
traitor. I'm just kidding.
here's what you need to understand, Bradley. I'm not making this up. I have people in the room who can corroborate with me that this happened. Because the celebration trailer, there's a point where it smash cuts to black, and then you hear Cody's voice saying Crosshair, and you hear Crosshair saying Commander Cody. The room fucking lost their minds. They had to replay the trailer because you couldn't hear the next few lines of dialogue over everyone fucking screaming. There was only one cheer I heard at the celebration stage that was louder than when Commander Cody showed up. And it was at the end of the Obi-Wan Kenobi premiere when Vader opens his eyes for the first time. Other than that, Cody had everybody beat. And now he's boring gray armor because the Empire is dumb.
Well, he also doesn't want to stand out, because the clones were like color coordinated back in the day. They all had like their special colors, and we what was the who was it from last season? What was his name? He had like the really cute teal color.
Hauser.
That's right. Hauser,
Daddy,
R.I.P.
yeah, Daddy.
He had a really cute color scheme going on too. They all the clones, the ones that are special because they all have the special color scheme.
Yeah, and it looks like they're starting to phase them out. We also see a shot in the season 2 teaser trailer of what looks like clone cadets who have been like shipped off to a mine. Looking a little white, boys, if that's the case. Animators, y'all need to look at your skin tones. because if those are supposed to be clone cadets, I didn't even know they were supposed to be clone cadets until somebody pointed it out. There's some really light skin tones for what's supposed to be Daniel Logan clones.
We'll have to keep an eye out this season for.
I will be keeping an eye on that this season. I know several podcasts just aren't covering it over just how ridiculous the skin tones not being dark enough are, which I completely respect. We're going to cover it, but I am going to bring this up when I see it because
why not? I'd rather bring it up if I see it.
Yeah, especially these what look like the clone cadets here really looking much paler than they need to be.
Right.
Which is ridiculous. And I'll be keeping an eye on that throughout the season.
Yeah, absolutely.
We also get a shot of Gungi. This was where you would have learned about Gungi, Bradley.
Right.
This is where you would have learned about Gungi.
For those who don't know, explain to us who Gungi is.
So in season 5 of the Clone Wars, there is the Padawans arc, which is basically a group of Padawans go to Ilum to build their lightsabers. They get their Kyber crystals. Ahsoka is with them for some reason. And then on the way back, they get hijacked by Hondo Ohnaka, and they end up having to rescue Ahsoka from Hondo Ohnaka, but then Grievous attacks. And they end up teaming up with Hondo Ohnaka to escape from Grievous. Gungi is one of the Padawans in that episode arc. It's a really good arc. David Tennant won a Emmy Award, actually, for voicing Professor Huyang, who is the lightsaber construction droid aboard the Crucible. That arc was supposed to be a backdoor pilot into a potential spinoff, and then they never made it.
Okay.
But that was supposed to be. But Gungi is a character from that arc, and he's easily the most likable of them.
So are we theorizing now that he's the only one who survived Order 66 out of that group?
I do theorize that he's probably the only one. Well, I think we know Katuni doesn't survive from a reference book that they found like her lightsaber in the temple. So it's a little ambiguous. We don't know the fates of any of those children, mostly because I don't think anyone wants to be the one to explicitly confirm that those children got fucking murdered.
Yeah, why not?
There is a clone using a flamethrower on a droid.
Oh, it's like a 0.5 second, like if you blink, you'll miss it thing.
Why? Why is there a clone using a flamethrower on a droid?
Flamethrower count number 2 for this season. We'll keep going and checking out. Well, we'll see. Maybe it's just a regular Imperial person with the flamethrower.
Also, Rampart's back. Nice. I don't know why you'd use a flamethrower on a droid. Yeah, Rampart's back. And that's everything leafing through the season 2 teaser trailer.
Gotcha.
I do want to talk about some of the stuff in the official trailer.
Okay.
We have 2 new characters. Is Phee Genoa the first one here? Is that the one being voiced by Wanda Sykes?
I don't know what her name is in the
So the subtitles revealed it because I wasn't sure who it was. It's the one who is like, so this is the top team, the clones on the run from the Empire. And she was also in the Celebration trailer. Is that the one being voiced by? Let me double check this.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up because I want to see if they say her name.
Yes, she is playing Phee Genoa, who we can see early on in the trailer.
Phee Genoa, Wanda Sykes. Okay, cool. That's interesting. I like that they're adding in, new characters.
New characters are great. Wanda Sykes also is a fantastic choice.
I do. The second I heard her voice, I was like, oh, because I know exactly what she sounds like. I was like, oh, I know exactly what this is.
Yep. We see apparently something might happen with the Zillo Beast. We also see a shot of what looks like a tall neck from Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't know what's going on here. Kaiju mecha fight, maybe? I know a friend who would really, really love... Oh, here's an interesting... There's a shot here of what looks like them breaking into the bridge of a Republic ship, but you can kind of see Coruscant in the background.
Which would line up with Omega being
on Coruscant.
On Coruscant, yeah.
Which I'm guessing is probably the premiere, based on the fact that she's looking at the destruction of Kamino. I'm guessing it's probably Spoils of War or Ruins of War that they're on Coruscant.
Interesting. That would make sense. But you don't think that could also be the...
That could also be the Cody arc, because when we see Cody and Crosshair, they're standing in front of the because of Darkside Divas, I know this. Second Battle of Geonosis Memorial, or the first Battle of Geonosis Memorial Wall. So it's outside of the Grand Army of the Republic Military Center. So we know that these scenes are at least taking place on Coruscant.
Right.
Then we get more fucking flamethrower. They're in some sort of plant. There's weird droids that show up. I'm just scrolling through the trailer to see if there's anything we haven't already talked about. You want to talk about the updated character models?
Oh, like they have like slightly different armor or different color scheme on their armor and stuff.
Yeah, they've switched out their armor. Omega is older,
Hmm.
clearly older. I like the new character models. I think they make them a bit more distinct.
Yeah, they got a little bit more color
A
in
little bit
them.
more color. They pop a little bit better. They've got a little more individuality.
Right.
They've got their own team. Omega looks like the rest of the team now,
Right. She's kind of blending in a little bit more with them as far as being geared up, essentially.
which is, cool and neat.
What's interesting though is like if you
You're
look
gonna
at the official poster, Crosshair is not on the poster, as he has not
No,
been a
he
part of the
is
Bad
not.
Batch for a long time, which
Nope.
I don't like. So I'm hoping that either this season, or like you said, if there is a third season, that he joins the Bad Batch again. Because I don't know, I just find it so annoying that he's not a part of the group anymore. Like I get what
Um,
his story is, but like I also like need him to hurry up and redeem himself or something.
I
Because
don't
it's like
think
it's not.
Crosshair needs a redemption arc. I don't think so.
Well, I
I
mean, he's
get
got to
Star
redeem
Wars
himself at
is
some point, but he'll die because that's what Star Wars likes to do is
That's what Star Wars
redeem.
always fucking does.
Right.
Which is
They'll
why
redeem
Reva
themselves
was
and
such a
die.
breath of fresh air and why we need more Reva content because then it's like,
Right.
oh, there's a character who redeemed herself and didn't die and now has to put in the work to actively become a better person and unlearn the toxic behavior that she was doing.
Right.
Where's that story, Lucasfilm? People have started voting Moses Ingram as one of their favorite creators of the year. We've all moved on from the Reva Bile. Where's that show? Where's that book? Come on, give it to me. Moses Ingram will do it. I'll bet you anything she'll do it. We also have a new character in Tawny Ames. Is the character with the blaster at the end of the main trailer. I don't know who's voicing her. I don't know what's going on with that. Bail Organa is here. Bail Organa
Mm.
is in this. Probably being voiced by Phil Lamar again, if I had to take a wild guess, which I do. They also so there's a shot of them, which is interesting. There's a shot of them in Dooku's office.
Dooku's office.
Dooku's office on Sereno in what Darkside Divas refers to as Castle Sex Toy.
Ah, classic
Google
name.
Google Castle Sereno. Just Google Castle Sereno. I'll wait.
Okay, I'm doing it right now. I
Uh,
Castle. How do you spell Serena?
Sereno.
That,
Just
my friends, is a dildo.
right. That's
That
a
is a
sex
giant.
toy.
That is a giant butt plug castle.
That's a sex toy.
I live for it, and it looks very painful in parts, but it's
I'm not.
ribbed for his pleasure.
I'm not sure it's the kind of thing that was designed with my butt in mind. But if that's what it looks a little bit sharp in some of those edges to me.
Yeah, it's a little
But
sharp.
if that's the kind of ribbing that you like be safe, use plenty of lube. I don't know what to tell you.
Yikes. Well, maybe those two little like nodule things kind of go in, it's like one of those like expander things. Like it expands, like so it shrinks down to get it in and then it expands once it's inside.
Oh my god.
That's all I can think of. That's what it
Jesus
is.
Christ.
It's an expanding one.
We're going to hell.
Okay.
We're
Well,
going to hell. No, there's a shot of them in Dooku's office, which is crazy. That was everything I saw, and then we kind of looked at the mission trailer already. There's Wookiees, there's a Trandoshan. We got a good look at the Imperial Senate, at least in this time frame, and
so
more crap.
this is just based on the trailer. So now are there any, I'm thinking like of some of the characters that appeared in season 1 that probably won't come in season 2, but maybe.
I don't think we're going to see Gregor again.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to see Cutler Quain again.
I don't think we're gonna see what is it, the sisters,
the Martez sisters.
The Martez sisters. I don't think they're gonna show up again.
I don't think we're going to see Fennec Shand or Cad Bane again.
I don't think we're going to see Hera or Chopper again either.
Maybe in the finale, I could see Hera showing up for the finale.
Like maybe they show up to Bail Organa and they're like, "Yo, I guess we'll finally help you with the rebellion or something," and then maybe she just happens.
Maybe at some point we'll find out how Hera got the ghost because I think she has the ghost by the time of the New Dawn.
Oh,
so we might.
That would be an interesting episode too.
The ghost in this show.
Yeah. Okay, that'd be interesting. Nice supplemental material. I like that.
I'm much more invested in this as a prequel to Rebels than I am as a sequel to Clone Wars.
Isn't that weird?
Like anytime they bring up something from Rebels, I'm like, yes, give me more. Give me more. And every time they bring up something from Clone Wars, I'm like, yeah, I watched the fucking show, you guys. You're not special.
Yeah, I'm always like, okay, Clone Wars happened. Like, we get it. We watched it
We
500 times. Like, we
we
know.
also we also did, in fairness, we also didn't grow up with Clone Wars. You are very much a prequels baby, and I'm like right on the edge of being a prequels baby.
Mm.
Like I grew up with the original trilogy, and then I was either 9 or 10. I think it was 9. Well, it was either 8 or 9 because it came out in 1999. I think I was 9 when Episode 1 came out, and then I was 13 when Revenge of the Sith came out. And then by the time Clone Wars came out, I fucking hated Clone Wars when it first came out for extremely toxic and not good reasons that I have since moved on from because I have developed as a human person. One day I will do an entire episode on that, but not today.
I'm looking at like questions of season 2, like things that people have questions about.
We're already starting to see the clickbait pop up.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking
Like,
at right now. I'm
is
like,
Quinlan Voss going to be in the Bad Batch? I was at the Clone Wars season 2. Is Quinlan Voss going to be in the Bad Batch season 2?
right.
Could Darth Vader appear in the Bad Batch season 2?
Oh, well, that was, I'm thinking about some of that stuff
Could
when we
Din
were
Djarin
doing,
appear in the Bad Batch season 2?
I was gonna say, because we thought of some stuff when we were doing the coverage of season 1, and we were like, will Boba Fett show up? You know, a teenage Boba Fett.
I do
Um,
think almost certainly Boba Fett, if this show gets its full series run,
right. I don't think it'll happen this season, but it could
it'll be in the
theoretically happen
finale.
the last season. Yeah.
They can't set Omega up as his sister and not have
And
them
not
meet at
have
some
the meet,
point.
right? Like, unless they're saving it for, I hate to say this, but Book of Boba season 2, but
Oh my god.
you know what I mean? Because I don't know. I feel like that would be kind of weird. Although the voice actress who plays Omega would literally be perfect to play
She's a
Omega
little
as an
too young.
adult.
She's a little too young.
Who
Boba,
cares? Time doesn't mean anything in this show.
that is true. That is
It
true.
doesn't mean anything.
That
It
is
really
true.
doesn't.
That is true.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
that would be interesting. I don't know. I'm certainly excited-ish for this season.
Yeah.
You know, it's dampened by the fact that the first season, yeah, in hindsight, we're a year on. I can say this: the first season was kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
All the Clone Wars stuff in this doesn't really excite me. Really, really, the animation is like this particular animation style is starting to show its age. I really wish that they would try some different things with the Lucasfilm animation.
Do you think they should update the show's animations? Like to
I think they
something
should.
different
I think
style,
they should
maybe?
do something new because Rebels had
Yeah.
a totally different animation style, and people bitched about Rebels at the time. And this is part of why the whole Save Clone Wars thing has kind of a complicated history. Hope got into this really well on Jedi Guys and Jedi. The origins of the Save Clone Wars movement are actually come from a very toxic place of butthurt fanboys being mad that Clone Wars was canceled and Rebels wasn't Clone Wars 2.0, that Rebels was doing something different. So part of the genesis for the movement, and from my understanding, it's not, the whole movement, it was picked up from a place of genuine love and people who wanted to see the Clone Wars return, especially after Rebels concluded. But part of it was being used to bash both Rebels and Resistance, because both of those had different art styles, both of those were using different characters and telling very different stories than the Clone Wars' sort of gritty war story. And so part of it feels like the knee-jerk reaction back to this particular animation style where they did Clone Wars Season 7 and they continued using exactly the same animation style in the Bad Batch, which is just Clone Wars but more. I want them to get more experimental with it. I want them to make stuff that looks different and plays around with animation. That's supposed to be the whole point of Lucasfilm. The whole point of the company is supposed to push the bounds of technology. It's supposed to play with what you can do. And that was also part of why I had issues with the VisFX and the sequel trilogy, because I didn't feel it really played around with technology in the way that Lucas sort of envisioned the company doing, to where it was like, okay, how can we get bigger? How can we get better? Mandalorian, Book of Boba, all that. I have my issues with the way the technology is used, but they are playing around with different technologies like the volume. And much to my distaste, the Respeecher, which I called Respoiler, and I do think that it's more accurately called Respoiler. But I don't know. There's something about season 2 that just, I'm curious to see what happens next. I love the Bad Batch. I love the characters. I love Omega. I love Sid. I'm really excited to see where they go. They're setting up some interesting lore stuff. I do like these characters from the Clone Wars, and it's neat to kind of get some answers about what happened to them. I don't know. I'm not as excited as I am for something like Mando season 3 or even Ahsoka. That's sort of lapsed into my final thoughts on going into this episode 0.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. Yeah, I'm not gonna be like I'm gonna keep this season in my mind very like I'm glad we have it. It's a nice thing that's coming. I have no expectations for this show, so I can't be disappointed because I'm not looking forward to anything. That everything is just going to be like a nice a new Star Wars thing every week for me. So it's going to be a great show, and I'm excited to see where Omega's journey goes.
Yeah, I view it in the same way that I view the Star Wars comics, in that I checked the at SW Books app, or the Twitter account on my Twitter app, and go, okay, they released this comic, this comic, this comic. I go read them. I go, yep, that was some good Star Wars, and then I go about my day. I don't see it being like Andor or Obi-Wan Kenobi, where I was like, Bradley, check your messages. I have to talk to you about Andor fucking immediately. That was some of the greatest shit I've seen in my life.
I do worry for this show when it crosses over with Man. I do worry how it's going to affect our viewing of the final couple episodes when it's on the same day as a Mando episode.
We're not covering Mando until Bad Batch is done.
Right.
So our Mando will practically be a retrospective because we're just not going to cover it until it's done. At least that is the current plan.
Right. So it's going to be interesting to see how that affects, one, the watchability of Bad Batch 2, and just the general discussion during those 5 or 6 weeks of when they're crossing over, like on Twitter, and just are people even talking about Bad Batch anymore at the point? You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't mean to sound like I'm not excited for the show, or I'm not super down on it, or I'm not really happy to see my boys again, or like anybody who's really excited for the show is wrong, because you're not. It looks like it's going to be a really fun time. I'm just not feeling the anticipation going into this that I was going into something like Andor or Obi-Wan Kenobi or even Clone Wars season 7. That I look at this and I'm like, yeah, that's coming. And part of it is, the animation showing its crow's feet a little bit. I really think it needs to move on. Whose goddamn white baby is that? And the fact that, I look at all the story stuff that's coming up and I'm like, that's cool to see, but I don't really see, it's really only the last 2 episodes that I'm excited about, because I feel like they're the ones that are going to move. It's them and the Cody episodes that I'm really excited about, because they're the ones that are going to move either a character forward that we really needed some closure on because they were a major character, or something interesting is going to happen with the lore, especially given what we saw at the end of season 1. So I might turn around. I might, at the end of this season, once it comes out, I might be like, oh my God, that was the most awesome shit I've ever seen in my life.
You never know.
That was so good. I was completely wrong about everything. But going into it, my expectations are incredibly super tempered. And I feel really bad not being super hyped for a Star Wars project.
Agreed.
But I've gotten pretty good at trying to make sure that my issues and my not having my expectations be through the roof, try not to hamper anybody else's enjoyment. So I'm looking forward to potentially being proven wrong. If nothing else, I'm sure it'll be a fun time. And the episodes are only 20 minutes.
I do like that. That's going to make our coverage way better.
The Force.
That's going to make our coverage way better. Trust me.
No more 2.5 hour episodes. Lol, I'm actually kidding. We're going to have guests, so there's going to be multiple 2-hour episodes. We don't know how to shut the fuck up.
No, I'm going to try to, I think this season, I'm really going to try to condense how we do the plot of these episodes so that we can really just talk about them in a nice, concise manner, but still be effective in our analysis,
Right. Well, Bradley, that's it for, I think, our episode 0 coverage of just looking at the episode titles and the stuff from the trailers and seeing how all that's going to be presented. In the meantime, for Light and Dice, the High Republic era Star Wars 5e TTRPG podcast that I'm on, hosted by Chris from Darkside Divas, alongside Hope from J Guys and Jedi, Jess from RuPaul's Pod Race, and our friends Nathan and Colton, is absolutely barreling towards its finale for the first arc. I haven't listened to the newest episode yet at time of recording. I'm actually going to listen on my way to walk up to the coffee shop. But I have heard through the grapevine that there's a very exciting cameo in that episode. And I'm not sure whether or not it's that episode or the next episode that's going to be the finale of the first arc. But I can tell you from actually playing the session Really exciting stuff. Y'all should be listening to that. It's great. It's absolutely fantastic. Alrighty, well, Bradley, go ahead and run the socials so that I can get out of this house. If I have to spend one more minute in here, I'm going to go insane.
Thank you for listening to Gold Squadron Gaze. Did Charles fuck something up? Send us a message at goldsquadrongaze@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at Gold Squad Gaze. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Gold Squadron Gaze. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Gold Squadron Gaze, where we post the podcast as well as exclusive content. Please join us next week and every week for more of Gold Squadron Gaze.
Again, this whole show is just like, hey, did you guys like Clone Wars?
They're like, how much more Clone Wars stuff?
How much more Clone Wars can we milk out of you dumb motherfuckers? Bleat, sheep, bleat. Bleat for your Clone Wars. I guess sheep, do sheep bleat? I'm not sure.